Minister, I know that you're genuine in your efforts here to try and deal with this very, very sensitive issue. And we all have come across people and know people and families and trauma over the years and decades, so it's long past time that we try to deal with it. But as Deputy O'Callaghan made very clear in his speech, and he's a legal person himself, has a better understanding probably of it and the different history of different court cases and that than me anyway. And trying to balance the two rights, and in any issue, there's a referee on the field, I'm not making little of this situation, but he has to make judgment calls. But to try and balance the right to privacy of the mother and the right to information, and knowledge of the adopted person, it's a very sensitive, difficult, challenging area. I am disappointed to have heard, and read in the briefing notes and from your press release as well, Minister, like the Children's Committee gave long consideration to it, and the fact that they had so many amendments, 83 I think in number, and none of them were accepted. And you're shaking your head. That's fine if that's not the situation, but too often that happens, when robust debates in politics. But this is a one for us all to come together to try and be together and unified and indeed united, and to try and deal with this situation. And the number of people that came forward and testified, I want to thank them from the bottom of my heart, because it's not easy for them to come and testify, talk in a quasi-public arena, and the pain and the heartfelt and the years of trauma and loneliness and desperation, and like many of them feel now that they weren't listened to. And we're all getting floods of emails in the last days about this legislation, and some of us that are not on the committee or weren't that committee, wouldn't have been aware of the extent, but nobody seems to be happy with it. And Minister, bad legislation, rushed, and it's not rushed I suppose, but it's kind of rushed, but no legislation is better than bad legislation. So delay is for another couple of months, it might be better in the end, because they're not happy with it, and they're very, very concerned about it. And we know what will end up across the river with the Whig gentleman, and we know what that entails, and the challenges and the delays, and maybe to Europe and whatever. So make haste slowly. We had a situation here, and I'm not diminishing the importance of this situation one bit, but we had a forestry bill brought in here 2 years ago, which I voted against because it was just pure useless. And it was better off we had no legislation than what it was. So it's a different, crude topic to introduce when we're talking about people's lives, but I'm just giving that experience because I knew it was going to be no use, and it is no use. So this is too sensitive. Too many people have been hurt and damaged, and we need to be able to, we need certainly to be able to have it right and give solace to those people that we're meant to give solace to. The joy and the privilege that we have all have been having parents and knowing our parents and having our siblings and everything else through life. It's been a privilege and a privileged experience, and thanks to our parents and everybody else. But the trauma then, on the other hand, and I know some of them, I meet them, and one particular gentleman, I meet him regularly, and he's so desperate, and he find his mother, and he actually did in the finish, but she chose not to be identified or to meet him. It's so harrowing, so traumatic. So, I mean, in your press release, it all sounds great. As you're saying, landmark legislation will be for the first time enshrined in law, and a clear right to full birth and early life care and medical information of all those with questions of their origins. That's lovely on paper and the spirit of it, but when people are so unhappy with what is in the bill, I think that really undermines your ambition. And I'm not saying it to you personally. You have to deal with the Attorney General has to give advice, and you have to deal with the drafters of this legislation. So I don't know, the landmark legislation, as it will provide a clear right to access and to birth certificates, but people are saying that, and these are the people in the organisations as well that are out there championing the causes of these people, and they are not happy with it. So I don't know. It's not easy, I know, because it's such a challenge. But there's so many people so unhappy with it, and is it going to end up, as I said, in the courts? And then where do we go? So I'm appealing that that you would look at it again. It's amazing. You denied that the number of amendments were rejected, but maybe you'll outline in your reply as to how many were and how many weren't. So I'm not sure. I'm only going what I'm told. But we all have, as I said, experiences, and we're all here to do our best. And in Natalie Cortlakeela, we need to have it right, and we need to work together to see can we ease the pain and anguish and suffering that has been there in people in this very sensitive area, at both sides. I'm sure the trauma and agony of many of the mothers as well. So it's just where the two twain shall meet, and we want to get it right. So I'm appealing to you to be as responsive as you can and accept some amendments and try and go back to the drawing board with this legislation and make sure to get it right.